So today I will be talking about the black market for Amazon reviews. But before I do that, I actually wanted to talk to you guys about free stuff because free stuff is pretty awesome. So if you open up Facebook and search Amazon reviewers into the search bar, you will be met with a bunch of Facebook groups that look a little bit like this. You'll see that a number are specific to Canada, which is quite important. And despite most of these being private, they are easy enough to join. You'll see I have a pending request up there. I did get in and I've gotten into many of these groups. And once you're in, you will find thousands of listings that look like this. So these listings are displaying a bunch of products that you can get for free. And all you need to do to get them for free is go to Amazon and write a positive review for the products. Very easy, which is part of the problem. And that is why about 43% of reviews on Amazon are fake. And fake reviews influence about $152 billion of global online spending. 2.3 billion of that is concentrated in Canada. So for some broader context, there's multiple different types of fake reviews in the fake review landscape. I've got 3 on screen, but this is by no means a comprehensive list. First off, we have review bombing, which is where a product or service will get completely inundated with negative reviews, typically for political motivations. There's also astroturfing, where a company encourages its own employees to go post positive reviews for that company's product or service. And then third, there's review brokerage, which is what I will be looking at today. And that is where a seller pays for fake positive reviews. So in the review brokerage landscape, there's a couple key players worth noting. So the review brokerage groups operate on platforms like Facebook and Instagram, and then the fake reviews from these groups will end up on sites like Amazon, and then also Google, eBay, and Walmart. But since Facebook and Amazon represent sort of the largest share of this market, I'll be focusing on them today as a sort of case study. So specifically looking at the life cycle for a fake review, we start off on Facebook, where a seller interested in promoting their products will contact a review agent. That agent will then make a Facebook group post like the ones we saw earlier, and then an interested reviewer will reach out to the agent. They'll communicate, and then on Amazon, the reviewer will find and purchase the product and then write our fake 5-star review. And then once the seller has confirmed that the review exists and is indeed positive, the reviewer will get refunded for the full cost of the product, and the agent will get a commission. So what are the incentives for participating in this black market? For the sellers, it's all about sales. We know that reviews have an incredible impact on sales. So fake 5-star reviews increase sales for these third-party sellers. For the agents, it's that slight commission that they're going to get on each review that they successfully incentivize. And then for reviewers, it's largely about the free products, and sometimes they will get an additional commission as well. So do fake reviews actually harm consumers? Yes, fake reviews encourage the purchase of lower quality products, and they decrease trust more broadly in reviews, which harms Canadian consumers. This decreased trust as a secondary impact also harms honest sellers who are not purchasing fake reviews and damages platform reputations as a whole. So thankfully, we're not completely without hope. There are current efforts addressing fake reviews in sort of 3 different spheres. At the government level, lots has been done at the Competition Bureau, and then also there's been some efforts from the platforms. So first looking at the Competition Bureau, the Bureau has been investigating Amazon for several years over the problem of fake reviews, and specifically how it uses reviews that are potentially fake to influence sales rankings and certain labels it assigns to products, like its bestseller labels. The basis for the Competition Bureau's investigation relies on a section of the Competition Act that covers deceptive marketing practices. I've got the relevant provision up on screen here, and you'll see that under this provision, it's possible to argue that a fake review constitutes a representation to the public that is false or misleading in a material respect. And because Amazon is indirectly making these representations available to the public, it could be legally liable. As for what the companies are doing, Amazon has taken lots of legal action against the Facebook administrators operating these groups and has its own detection mechanisms for fake reviews. Facebook has also done some things. It removes these groups periodically, and especially when the CMA, which is the UK's competition regulator, tells it that it has to. However, these efforts remain insufficient. Amazon actually only deletes successfully 50% of fake reviews with an average lag of 100 days, meaning that these sellers are still benefiting from those fake reviews being up for 100 days. Like I said, Facebook also periodically deletes the groups, but they only reemerge under new names. And while the Competition Bureau's investigation is a good first step, relying on this alone has a lot of risk because the outcome is largely unknown. So it's clear that we need a better solution. And that solution will ideally achieve two primary goals. First, an increased consumer trust in reviews, and second, a decrease in the amount of fake reviews on platforms. And you'll notice these goals map directly onto the impacts of fake reviews that I outlined earlier. So my recommendation to meet the goal is to continue the investigation with a couple very important tweaks. So by the same legal provision that makes Amazon potentially liable for fake reviews, Facebook could be indirectly responsible as well. So my proposition is that the Competition Bureau should jointly investigate both Amazon and Facebook. As a secondary portion to my recommendation, we should amend the Competition Act. So specifically, I think the Competition Bureau should avoid taking the case to the tribunal, where a lot of the risk of relying on the status quo is concentrated. Instead, it should push for an amicable resolution with the parties via a consent order. And this consent order would entail requirements for detecting and removing fake reviews or review brokerage groups, and also for reporting back to the Bureau on progress. This option takes advantage of the company's stated interest and willingness to comply with the Competition Bureau and with other competition regulators worldwide. So another specification for this option is that the requirements should involve some form of a name and shame model. So recently, the CMA imposed a similar model on Google, where Google was required to alert consumers when a business was caught purchasing fake reviews. And while this has been quite recent and therefore difficult to know what the long-term success will be, transparency mechanisms such as these have a numerous amount of benefits. They increase consumer trust, they strengthen platform reputation, they decrease the incentive for purchasing fake reviews, and they benefit honest sellers. So this approach tackles both the anti-competitive nature and the consumer harm nature of my problem. Second, for the amendment to the Competition Act, this amendment would specifically make fake reviews illegal. And there is some precedent for this type of approach in other jurisdictions, as well as in Canada. For example, in 2022, the Competition Act was amended to specifically recognize drip pricing as a deceptive marketing practice. So clearly there is some willingness to amend this section of the Act, and it would not be out of the question to follow a similar approach for fake reviews. So in conclusion, this recommendation best meets the policy goals that I outlined earlier. It increases consumer trust in reviews, largely through the name and shame model that I proposed, as well as the publicity that would be generated by a high-profile investigation. It also reduces the number of fake reviews on platforms, again, partly through the name and shame model, which disincentivizes sellers from purchasing fake reviews, and then as well as through the additional detection mechanisms that the consent order would impose. The legislative changes I've proposed would also encourage other platforms besides Amazon and Facebook to take action against fake reviews. And the specifications that I've proposed, along with the packaging of these options together, mitigates some of the key risks, namely the uncertainty involved with the investigation process and with passing a new legislative amendment. All right, thank you for your attention. I'm happy to take any questions.